And we are back for another review week of this show with Anime4ALL. I am AVZ, Experimenting Helmet. We're here to talk about 99. This show has surprisingly gotten better as I watched it, so I'm not. I honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I saw the commercials when it was first advertised, and I was like, this might be interesting. This might be what I need. And yep, definitely better than I thought it was gonna be. I'll say that much. I guess we're going to review of 2 episodes. Trying to figure out how we can do this, but this was to start with episode 4 of the Mighty Nine, which is funny. I guess also I just remembered this, but there's actually there's actual campaign reasoning why I think they're called the Mighty Nine. I saw somewhere that apparently saying that they were consistently during the campaign dropping natural nines. Basically, like they had 9 pop up so much during their campaign. So I think that's why they're called the Mighty Nine. It just seeped into their name. Like they weren't initially called that at first, but then it just seeped into their name because it kept on happening. So I think that I saw that somewhere. And I thought that was neat. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I guess with episode 4, 99, let's see here. First episode of first season, framed for the Carnival Massacre, which is the last thing we saw. Mighty Nine must come together to rescue a young girl and clear their names so they don't kill each other first. Meanwhile, Essek and Trent Ickathon begin their beacon experiments. Trent is thrilled by the implications, leaving Essek to reconsider his choices. So I guess what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna like really just brush up on just brush over my thoughts on Trent. I'm not Trent, but Essek and what he's done to his kingdom and his queen and his mom. Not much to say right now because they're a part of the plot, but they haven't really done a lot yet. All I gotta say is, Essek, you screwed up. I don't know how you weren't seeing this. This man was tricking you. The entire time he was tricking you. Wasn't anticipating basically Essek giving him the keys to the castle and then immediately getting kicked out. I was like, geez, that's what you get for losing the beacon. And now, like, according to his friend, who I got his name here, thanks to Spear. Where is it? His name is here somewhere. I know it because the picture's like with it. Oh yeah, General Virat. According to General Virat, like, no, people are going to be dying permanently, which is interesting. As I was listening to this bit though about the whole dying and re-dying and rebirth thing, which they explain later on as well, it's interesting how like death doesn't really mean death for these people. I wonder like what's the underlying consequence to all that, because it's like Essek's mother, she's dealing with constant memories of the constant rebirth she's endured throughout her life, or lives, plural, and because of it she's got typhus, which is apparently a really well-known disease, because apparently the cure is to kill you, and I guess permanently, because from the way Essek was making it sound, though I'm guessing. But with that being said, wouldn't
having a corrupted spirit in there will like contaminate the beacon somehow? That's the only thing I can think of.
But wouldn't that kill the other memories as well? Because it's not just her in there; it's memories of everybody else. Is the contamination?
I mean, if you're killed when you're not in the beacon, it's not going to contaminate the beacon.
Isn't your soul supposed to go to the beacon when you die, though?
Yeah, but they think that it doesn't go to the beacon unless they like consecrate it. Remember?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because he makes that big discovery. He's like, it can go to the beacon even if it's not marked, and that's like a big discovery. And he's like, that's amazing.
Okay, I needed to look up consecrated because I remember hearing that and I didn't understand what you're talking about. Okay, just blessed, made sacred. Okay, interesting. Uh, yeah, I don't know what the implications of a lot of this because I feel like there's going to be a lot more dealing with this beacon, considering that Trinit's now discovered it's a weapon that we saw because apparently it's able to manipulate gravity around it. I guess who's ever is opening the beacon has access to all that gravity control.
Mm-hmm.
Or a Duramancy is what they called it. That's insane. But that's also what I guess on the beacon. They explained to us how the beacon kind of works, or how the reincarnation process works, and like they first explained that when somebody dies, they're consecrated, and then their soul is sent into the beacon, waiting for the time for their soul to be reborn. And apparently, they shove these souls into newborn babies, and then those babies grow up, and then eventually, at some point it seems like around adolescence, is when the memories of their past lives gets injected into our memory, and then they have like I guess they have a reawakening of sorts. But I guess what I wanted to point out, or one thing I wanted to ask about that is when he said that to me, and he said the newborn babies get like shoved in with these souls. What about the soul that's already inhabiting the baby?
I didn't understand it working that way. Maybe I didn't listen carefully enough. I thought that they just don't start remembering their past lives until they get a little bit older, but it's the same person all the way through that reincarnated. I missed the part where it got shoved in there with some other soul already there.
I'm talking about the soul that's already inside the baby. When the baby is born, it's already alive. It's got its own personality at this point. Well, not a personality, but
Yeah, I understand.
Like
I know that you're talking about that.
But I was saying, like when they put a soul from inside the beacon into the kid, that's what they're doing. They put like apparently I don't know how they choose or how that happens. But it looks like, as far as I was understanding, their soul comes out of the beacon and goes into the child, and then the soul rests inside the child until a certain time when they're older. I'm just saying adolescence because it seemed like when they were showing that little girl, she definitely wasn't a little baby when she started remembering. Like she might have been like
I thought you just don't start remembering your former life until you hit a certain age, but the soul was reincarnated and nobody had to be pushed out. Like I don't remember the whole thing of two souls being in the same body, or one of them being pushed out, or any of that stuff.
No,
I just thought when they hit a certain age, like they just started remembering their past life.
No, the whole soul thing, it was never said that. They just put the soul gets reincarnated into the child after birth, because I remember correctly, a woman gave birth and then a soul was put into it. But what I'm saying is, like, because they never said anything, it's just like they kind of brushed over the fact that like there's got to be a soul in the baby already, like its own soul, right? Are these things born?
I just thought they reincarnate naturally, and like that's the soul. Like I didn't think there was another soul to worry about.
But what the baby that was born though? Like the women get pregnant. As far as I can tell. Let me go back. Maybe I misinterpreted something. I don't know.
It could absolutely be me. I'm just not sure.
I don't remember where it is that they talk about the reincarnation cycle. I know they do it somewhere. Upon death, the body is discarded, but the soul is preserved within the Luxon beacon, held in stasis, until a child is born, and that soul transfers into the new body, and begins its new life again.
Was there ever a mention of
But
another
that's
soul,
weird.
though?
No, they just talk about like this. So when the new baby is born, then the soul begins anew. But that doesn't make any sense. How does that even work? Because I thought that it went into the beacon, and then the beacon sent the soul back out. It didn't say that. But my issue, or well, my thing is like, who's impregnating these elven women? I guess I guess the next question
I
I
volunteer as tribute.
have. Your god, her walls are just messed up. But no, I'm just like, I'm just like, I don't understand. Because he said, and then the soul goes into the beacon to like when a baby is born, and then that soul begins anew. They don't go in between of how that soul begins anew. Because like, it can't just show up in the womb of the woman, right? There's gotta be something that happens in between. I'm missing something. There's a step that he didn't talk about. Because it doesn't make any sense. Unless when it goes into the beacon, it turns into energy and goes into the world, and then it finds somebody, I guess, to go in. But again, it's like I thought because they made it sound like when a child is born, I could only assume that they're talking about when a husband and wife, want a kid, and then they do the do, and then they give birth. And I thought the soul went into the baby.
Mm.
It still sounds like that's what's happening. Well, I honestly thought what was going on was like, maybe I'm misinterpreting what they're saying, because it's like the baby comes out and then the baby already has the soul. I'm very confused at that process, because I guess like I thought that like because the other thing was like maybe the baby was a soulless husk and then they put a soul in it. Just gonna re-look at this really quick. Just to make sure I understand what's going on. Because I was another one who interpreted it this way too. Yes, consecrated soul has been marked ritually for resurrection. They're at the thing. They show the soul going into the beacon, into stasis. He says, then that soul transfers into the baby. Was the words he used.
Yeah.
And that soul transfers into the new body. It's got so they got it pulled up. At least from what I can tell, until they correct me. Otherwise, it sounds like they pull the soul that's been marked, that's been consecrated into the baby. But then my whole
I can't say that's not true.
But my whole thing is like, isn't there already a soul in the baby?
Mm-hmm.
That's my thing. Is like, isn't there already a soul in the baby? Because all they're doing is putting another soul. That's why I thought maybe there are two people. But maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe the idea is that the souls merge and they become one. So the baby gets the memories because they talk about like, it will remember. So this isn't about like becoming a new person. It's just about remembering who you were before.
Yeah.
You get their memories, and that's about it. Which I guess means, typhos must just be you are literally becoming that other person. But because of how many people you probably could have been before, then there's also a problem there too. Later, well, he says in adolescence, members that are past lesbian. Okay, so they say adolescence. Yeah, I don't like. I guess that's how I'm gonna just interpret that until I get proven wrong. And I'm open to that. I'm just saying I don't know. That's how I like. But I guess the whole maybe I'm misinterpreting the whole soul thing, and maybe there is only one soul in the body. That just seems so weird because I feel like if you're born into the world, you have a soul already. Because I would think you would.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just inputting a soul into the body of somebody else just gets messy. But they explained that, and that's how I'm interpreting it. During all that, I mean, after Essex explains that, and he tries to open up the gateway so they can put one of Trent's, soldier souls into there, and they fail because Essex can't hold it over for too long because it puts holes in his hand. Then he teaches. Well, he kind of gets prodded into teaching Trent how to open the gate, and he teaches him how to do it, and that's pretty much the end of everything there. He's screwed over his kingdom. Now his queen's going to be sending in. Well, they have 48 hours where she does it, but I suspect we're going to see a war happening at the end of the season, at least the start of it anyway. That's with that. I guess we can backtrack really all the way back to the episode and talk about everything else that's important. So last episode, they all had the fire they had the fire in the tent and everything kind of going down and people dying. Not gonna lie, the very beginning of the episode being an interrogation kind of threw me off guard, and then not only did that throw me off guard, the fact that they're also blaming Mollymuck as well as everybody else, which I find really sad.
Why?
I thought they weren't gonna blame him, huh?
Why do you find that sad?
I don't know. I feel like there's no way they could have claimed he had anything to do with it, but I guess they have proof. I just thought it was just sad. I thought they weren't going to include him in all that, but they did anyway. Jester was as always the highlight.
Jester's good fun.
The sensual 7, but there's only 6 of you. Forget the traveler.
Mm-hmm.
He kept running that joke too in the entire episode. It was like, there's only so many of you. It's geez, that's such a dumb joke. Such lowbrow humor, but it works so well.
It was really fun.
But they every single one of them explains in their own way what happened or what didn't happen. Mollymuck's like, why do I kill them? They pay my rent. I thought that was real. It was like, geez, yeah, they give him money. I think 4 was the only one who tried to make sense of everything a little bit. Talking I only do me and Jester only just came in to have a little fun. Jester just being her, which was funny. It was a treat.
Incapable of explaining it. Yes, Jester's not very capable. Jester, we're going to need you to have a whole coherent thought here. That's a chapter. No, Jester, that's not what we're talking about. It's always about the chapter. No, Jester.
Yes. Oh, Bo just threatening them while nearly ended. Well, no, did she threaten them? I know she said I don't have a weapon when she count these pythons, which I thought was funny.
I think you could draw a flow chart that was is Bo threatening you, and then that's just one direction. It just goes to yes, and that's the whole flow chart.
Because I don't even have weapons unless you count these pythons. I'm like, geez, really?
Mm-hmm. And then she actually kisses.
Yeah, that's what
bicep. She goes ahead and kisses her bicep.
I was like, are you a wrestler? What is going on here? I was really waiting for her to bite into a Slim Jim and just call it it.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm missing somebody. Oh yeah, Not was the weirdest and kind of the creepiest. Because she first went from drunken haze of threatening to bite them to frisk me. I might be hiding something in my butt. And I was like, okay, she's going through a lot right now. She doesn't have her booze, so I'm guessing this is just how she acts.
They drew her kind of ugly sometimes in this one too, in a way that they hadn't drawn her ugly before. They had some close-ups of her face that like made her like objectively hideous, and it was very like upsetting to see her for me.
I think that was just how she, like, when she's drunk and she just stretching her face. She doesn't think she's pretty. I mean, that's the other thing too. Like, she doesn't think she's good looking, even though Jester tries to tell her that she's wrong. But
Jester was struggling a little bit with that. She's like, your teeth, and then she like quickly changes the subject. She's like, you're pretty, your skin and your teeth, and she like finally like she goes, you have pretty eyes. So like she was really struggling to find something nice to say, but she did her best.
I don't know. And then I felt struggling. Oh, sorry.
And then I felt bad because like shortly after that, like she needs her to say something back in turn, and like she doesn't say anything. Do you know what I mean? Like when she goes to the part about the traveler, and she's like, I hope this traveler is alive, and she's like, yeah, whatever. And I was like, oh, no, I have to pick up on the cue and like reassure her, you know, but not miss the opportunity.
Well, actually, maybe we should back up. I want to like, because like after the interrogation, they all get thrown into jail, and then every single one of them flips on the other, which makes sense because some of these people wouldn't be here about the other one. Bo flips out on Not because of the horse. I love the horse keep coming back. It's like she flips out on Bo because of the horse. She flips out Bo and Kayla because of the horse. I forget who, because Jester doesn't flip on anybody. She kind of just like, you know, going around Ford. It's starting to sound like this lie that he's telling isn't gonna. I mean, no one else buys it except for Jester, but it's just kind of sad that no one else seems to be wanting to, you know, portray this Ford dude as a captain. Though based on like what's going on, he probably is a captain because his captain did die, and he's the one that survived. I think you said something about that before, about like technically speaking, he actually might be a captain.
It's like when Vegeta doesn't realize that he's actually the king of Saiyans and not the prince.
I saw a theory about that somewhere online. I forgot what it was. Something about him respecting his father and not wanting to usurp his father's, you know, title.
Okay.
That was just a theory I saw somewhere that somebody, I forgot who it was, but it was a theory that they came up with about why he doesn't take the king title, because even though he should be king. But yeah, I forgot who Ford. I know Ford has kind of a thing like, I wouldn't be here without you guys because we were just passing through. But basically, who I want to actually talk about is Molly Muck, who flips on every single one of them, and he's like, "You killed my circus." He was like, everyone I cared about who would give a shit for me is dead. I was like, geez, I never seen Molly Muck really get that upset, and he really flips on Bo because like, you say you weren't gonna cause any ruckus. I just like that, you know, they all seem to have issues with each other, but later on they get along really well, surprisingly so. But you know, like Molly Muck says, I want silence. I don't want to hear from any one of you. But eventually, you know, they all calm down, and then, you know, Bo's like, we know everybody here doesn't want to be here, so they got to find a way out. And then Ford pretty much like raises, because apparently everybody else doesn't have their weapons, you know, and Not doesn't have her liquor. I felt kind of bad for. I thought she was gonna kill somebody, like when she didn't get her booze. Part of me,
she probably thought she was gonna kill somebody too. Don't you think?
But who?
Not probably thought she was gonna kill somebody too, right?
Probably. I mean, based on how much she wanted that bottle. just a little morsel. And she doesn't get it. I'm like, man, she really needs alcohol, like badly. I guess I could say one last thing. I said this to you in the Discord. When they were talking about, you know, Ford being a captain and nobody believing him, or at least believing Jester when she said that. And then they say like he doesn't have any calluses on his hands, and then Not goes, off script, and I'm pretty sure it was off script. I'm pretty sure this was not in the script that they were reading when they were doing this thing. But like, I got more calluses on my cooch. I'm like, what are you doing? You don't answer that. I gotta ask, what were you doing to get calluses down there? Like, that doesn't seem possible. But I'm not gonna ask because I don't really want to know the answer to that question. But basically, Ford managed to teleport the sword to his hand, and I guess oh no, he teleports the sword to his hand, and then we cut away. We cut back. He's using his transformation skill, which was actually a really clever use of that ability that he didn't know he had at first. It was a really very good use of it, and he causes the guards to like open up the cage, and then he, everybody, knocks everybody out, and then they get out, and then they start searching around the abandoned remains of the circus, trying to figure out where the frog went. And they saw blood on the ground leading outside, leading to a carriage, and then Molly Monk uses an ability that we didn't know he had, which is apparently looking blood and I guess letting the deity that's inside him take over to find out where the blood was going, which is interesting because he snaps out of it and he says, "I don't know what that was or how he did that." Do you think he was being serious? Kind of later on, he says that.
It looked a little bit like a lie.
You think he knows what he's doing then?
The way he smiled about it and like said, we've all got our secrets, like shortly afterwards, kind of weakly, like he kind of was lying.
I don't know, because he has a conversation with Jester later on, and it seems like he's being genuine about it. He doesn't know what's really going on.
Mm.
I mean, he could be lying. I'm not gonna sit there saying he probably wouldn't, but I'm just saying, I don't know. It just seems kind of weird. He has that conversation with Jester later, and it seems like he's being genuine about he doesn't know really what his powers are or where they come from. I guess speaking of his, gonna slow down. He finds the blood on the carriage and he points them in the direction outside the village, and they all go and walk out into the forest to find the devil frog that it's gonna get them get out of jail free card. I think they cut away from that. I don't know where they cut away from that to. Something like happens in between that, I think. I guess I could look if Amazon will let me. Oh, I guess I forgot about this. Bo displays some of her acrobatic abilities, and everybody's like, "Who the heck are you?" And then she tells them she's a cobalt.
Who are you? They ask her at a different time too when she's doing her investigative stuff.
No, that's what I'm saying. When she does her acrobatic thing into one of the poles.
Oh yeah.
Stinger, like she drops down after that, and you're like, who are you? And then she tells him that she's a cobalt monk, but not like any of you guys know what that is. And then Caleb displays a bit of knowledge that he apparently has, that he knows who the cobalt monks are, which I will say was kind of interesting. Is like, he just kind of gives the information out freely. He doesn't explain how he knows. Like he just like adding a more air of mystery to him. And Ford ends up asking him, like, who taught you your magic? I know it's a recurring theme with Ford. Is like, whoever has magic, he typically walks up to them and questions them about how they got it or whatever like that. I thought that was intriguing because he's done it multiple times now. Like asking how somebody got their magic. I guess he's trying to figure out how they got it or how they got control over it.
Well, he wants to see if he can find like some hints as to what's going on with him, because he's got magic powers and has no idea why.
I got that. I was just saying it's interesting. It's happening multiple times now. I thought after one failed attempt with Jester, he would give up. Which is interesting that he has not. But and then Caleb reveals that he's self-taught, which I think we already knew. But it's interesting that he was self-taught. So I think that's not 100% true. We'll get to that later. see, Ford does ask him that. Oh, Ford asks him about the school, and then he's like, "Well, the school's good, but the teachers, I don't know." Like, that's another story, which is interesting. Like, you know a little bit more than you're letting on. Trying to think of any other interactions. I don't know why I didn't think you could just look at it.
Nine. He says nine like 85 times a minute. Doesn't he?
Well, he says it a lot. I mean, but that's just no in German. Or
yeah, but he really loves to say nine.
I mean, he typically reverts back to his home language anyway. But yeah, he does say it a lot. Oh, let's get back to like the Lux and Beacon, which I already talked about. Unless you got anything to add about that scene with Essek and Trent and the Beacon. Oh, Jesus.
Let me see what I have. I was sure Trent was going to kill Essek as soon as he showed him how to use the beacon, and he didn't, which surprised me.
Yeah, I can see that. But like, Trent doesn't make a habit of killing people, I've noticed. If he's, except for those people that are apparently are giving their bodies to science, or in your case, giving them his body as tribute. But he doesn't seem to kill a lot of people. Like, he didn't kill. Well, I'm not gonna say he didn't. Like, yeah, he didn't kill Essek, which is surprising.
He killed the bugbear for fun, and he pulled all those people in for them to test on and killed them for fun. And he may have sent Caleb just to kill his parents, just as a test, not really out of need.
I don't think he killed those people for fun. He killed those people for science. He like, Trent strikes me as a guy who will do anything for knowledge. Nothing ever seems like a fun thing for him. It just seems like it's a necessary thing. But it's still evil. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying that I don't think he's ever done anything out of fun.
That's fair. I think he is proving himself to be more reckless as time goes on.
I think he's always kind of been reckless. I mean, again, it's like he doesn't seem to, like, I think he's always been reckless. He doesn't seem to care too much about like leaving used products out in the wild for them to come back. Cause like, I can only assume like him leaving Caleb alive, there's something behind that too. Cause like, it seems really weird. And then like with, you know, Oelia, it's like, it seems really, because like she wasn't one of the three originally that he chosen. Somehow along the way she ended up becoming a Volt Strucker. She was not one at first though. So I don't. Yeah, I mean, Essek really screwed himself. I mean, like, I don't know how he didn't see he was being used. Maybe he did. He just didn't care because his mother was like the one thing he cared about. Which, I mean, Essek shows that multiple times. That's really who he cares about. Is his mom. But I'm guessing Trent knew that and exploited that. But yeah, I guess he's getting reckless. I just noticed, like, when it comes to him, like, I can see scientists brewing within him, and typically scientists don't care what the consequences or anything, and they don't really care about anything else around them other than what they're trying to achieve. And that's what I 100% see in Trent, and it's making him evil because of it.
Did you pick up on the not so thinly veiled threat that Trent made of killing Essex's mother?
Well, when he called her a crick or something?
At 1450. I'll try to get there, but I might have to watch a commercial in between. Hang on. Okay. So he's talking about how they shouldn't be doing this. And hang on. Then he goes, your mother's illness, what was it called again? And Essex drinks the tea and says, typhus. And it says a side effect of many resurrections. The memories of past lives bleed into her current one. It changed her. And he goes, huh. And if her sickness is discovered, he says, giving him side eye. And he says, her consecution will be removed and she will be executed permanently. And then he goes, huh. It is unfair what is asked of us. No matter how devoted to our countries we are, they still take from us until we have nothing left to give. And then the guy looks at him and he smiles. And then he looks more serious. And then he goes, I suppose I could teach you to open it. And I think that might have been sort of a thinly veiled threat. Like, that he was like kind of threatening.
I mean, I guess, but I guess I could see it as him threatening. I just thought he was using his mom to manipulate him. But I guess at the same time, that also is what he's doing there by threatening that he'll probably tell the king, the queen, that they're a sick person that you need to remove the consecration of, and then go straight to killing them.
Right.
I didn't see it as a threat. I just saw it as a manipulation tactic that he knew of. Because again, it's like Trent doesn't seem keen on cleaning up messes, as far as I can tell. I mean, he'll kill people in the name of science, but that's only when they're being experimented on. Other than that, it's like, you know. Now, I'm not saying he won't kill somebody. Just like so far right now, he seems to be more keen on getting results. But yeah, I guess that could be a bit like a very, very straightforward threat. But like, ugh. But after that, they start making their, the Mighty Nine makes their way to, starts following the trail and starts trying to figure out what this double toad is, and they end up in a swamp, and then they end up seeing Toya, the girl that got taken by the frog earlier, is singing her song, kind of creepily in the distance, and like they're trying, they see her, and they go inside the cave where she ends up drifting into slowly. Only for them to see Toya, and I'm not gonna lie, it was very clear that Toya wasn't Toya anymore, because you see a shadow cast over her, but her eyes are sunken, and I just sat there like, oh lord, that's not good. That's not good for anybody. But I think my favorite.
I called it too, because I said to Jesse, like right away. I said that sorry. Right away, I said to Jesse that it looked like an anglerfish setup.
I got something that I can do you better on that one. I don't think you haven't seen Bleach, but there's this which I'm pretty sure this thing is based off of an anglerfish, but I just wanna, what's his name? Grand Fisher? Like, it reminded me of Grand Fisher a little bit with how I talked and whatnot. Let me just I got a picture that I can share. It doesn't look like it, but the idea is there about luring in your prey. Yeah, there. Like, that's a hollow from Bleach. But that's one of the.
Are you sure? Where are you showing me this? Hang on, I gotta catch up. Where did you show me this?
Discord. I guess I gotta be more specific. I'm showing you in Discord.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's one of the earlier monsters that the main character fights, and it had something to do with the death of his mother. But I'm saying, like, the idea is still there, that, you know, luring in your prey. But yeah, like, it definitely looked like a it definitely looked like a anglerfish with the way it was doing everything. I also want to say I call it something else too, but I think you're more leading me in the direction. But I said that this thing was intelligent, but I only made that inference off of the ability that it displayed when it was turning everything into reptile frog things, and apparently they were finding out they were being manipulated. But oh boy, I gave up an idea real quick until like I saw the episode and I saw that it was talking through Toya. I was like, oh my god, it's intelligent. So, I was like, it's talking through her. Well, I want to bring up real quick. I never resonated with Ford so much until he came in that thing and said, "Yeah."
He's like, "I'm out."
I never resonated. I had to rewind it several times because I just couldn't stop laughing. It was perfect. I was like, I'm not mad at him. That's exactly my reaction. Like, I'm turning around and I'm out. I'm like, nope. I like that. It was like, I'm glad somebody was real about it because I was like, yeah, that's not good. But Jester, does her thing and grabs Ford back in and then just talking to the Toya before they found out that the Toya is now the devil frog. I find it funny, like, it's kind of gross here. Why don't we just leave? And then like after they found out the devil frog got its tongue up Toya's body, I starts talking to her and she's like, I don't belong here. What I thought was interesting. What I want to say, what I find a little bit more interesting, and I think maybe I'm a little off basis now after I watched it again, but so like the devil frog has glowing like light yellow eyes or whatever like that when it's talking through Toya. I noticed that when Ford himself, like, I guess gave into the sword's possession a little bit there. His eyes kind of almost there was a little bit of like yellow iris going on in Ford's eye, and I just thought that was interesting. It was like, I wonder why we're seeing two instances of possession and leading to yellow Scara. Yeah, I think it's Scara. The whites of their eyes turning yellow, or in I think Ford's case, his iris turning yellow. I don't know. I just found that interesting. Like at first, I was like, I wonder what's going on there. Is like the devil frog and whatever's talking to him the same thing? I don't really know if that's true or not, but it's just something I find interesting. But also apparently that frog wasn't from there. Because like, I mean, we see after they kill the frog that you see that there was a portal or a rift behind it that it was trying to go to. Though I'm actually kind of surprised. I'm wondering why it didn't go through the rift before. It could have easily done so. Just said, nope, I'm not fighting you. I want to get out of here. If the whole idea was they wanted to go home. It didn't seem
I wondered that too. I wondered why it didn't go through the rift. Maybe it couldn't get the rift open. Like it was just a little crack.
But no, didn't Molly Muck throw something through it? No, was it Molly or was it somebody else? I thought somebody threw a pebble through it.
But a pebble's different than a devil frog, Toad. It could be that it was. It could be that it was working on making. It could have been in the process of creating it. You know what I mean? Like it could be. It could have been there because it was like working on building one big enough for it to go through.
Yes, that's true. But they left it there, so I don't know what that's going to do later. They didn't bother trying to close it or anything, or figure out how to close it. But yeah, it's still there. As far as I'm aware, that rift is still inside the cave, unless it's going to close automatically. But I guess you're right that it was probably maybe working on trying to open it. It just seems interesting, that it was there. If that's what the purpose was, because apparently it wasn't from there. I don't know where it was from. That's what made me think. I'm wondering if the frog thing is the same thing as that thing that is talking to Ford in the water. Because it seems like both of them are amphibious. I just don't know. I'm willing to. I'm gonna go on limited that they're different things. Like, to prove otherwise, I just don't know. It just kind of. It just seemed weird because also when Ford did the first slash the tongue off that freed Toya's body, the energy faded from the sword, but then you still saw the crazy grin on his face and those black eyes. I was like, good lord, what happened there? And he woke up. I was like, oh shoot, that's not good. Every time he's been possessed by that energy, it's shown that it's been really strong. So I don't know what that's ultimately going to lead to later, if anything. But Yeah, Ford's shown to be useful yet again, getting no respect. But yeah, they group together to kill the frog. I guess also we can bring this up now. Molly Muck's ability to turn his blood into ice was a very weird ability that I wasn't expecting. I sat there wondering, why does his blood freeze and turn to ice? That's really interesting. It's something off the wall I would have never seen. So I'm guessing his blood must run really cold, I guess, or something. For it to turn into ice is an amazing ability.
Was that ice or crystal?
I took it as ice for the way it was reacting, and then also he shoved it into the frog's eyes, and it just made more.
It could be. I was just curious what you thought.
I just took it as ice. I didn't really take it as crystal. I thought crystal would have looked different, or they would have really tried to make the point that it was crystal. Because we see crystal in the show, the green crystal things that go inside the arms of the Voltstruckers, that glows. I feel like we've seen crystal in other sorts too.
Did I destroy your momentum?
No, it's not that. I looked up Mighty Nein and Ice Blood, saw the word spoiler from Reddit, and immediately clicked off of it.
Oh.
So I didn't find anything out. I was trying to find something out to help figure this out, but I saw the word spoiler and I immediately ejected. So thank you, Reddit. I was like, okay, so I'm gonna go up ice. You think it's crystal? Let's see who's right. I think it's a dumb bet, whatever reason. It's like, people are like, hey, keep an eye out. Cause I know people have been watching this podcast. The first episode's got 48 views last time I checked, and I was really shocked. So people who are watching this, please keep track of that, because we're gonna forget. We'll find out whenever it's important. Yeah, they kill the little devil frog. They take the head off of it because they're going to carry it back to town as proof that this was the thing that caused all the damage. Before that, Bo reaches inside the thing's guts to pull out the stone thing that she spent all this time trying to get. I think it's about it because they start heading back. I will say, I guess before all this, before they had their like little Mighty Nein team, fight scene, it was interesting how like each one of them was like, and I think Force said the best. Like we're all a bunch of amateurs trying to do something great or something like that. I thought it was interesting because like even Bo sat there and took that in and said, "Yeah, I'm a failure." He was right. I was like, "Geez, didn't expect that from Bo, considering how she's been acting the entire time."
She'll call it like it is, though.
Yeah, but I feel like it takes a lot for her to do that, though. I'm not saying she's incapable of it. It just seems like like she's in her own head, man, and then it takes something like that to drag her out of it. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad character, and I'm just saying like it's interesting with that. Like it's so far it's shown that she is stubborn. But I thought it was interesting how Force said all that, and everybody kind of just sat there and agreed that we're all a bunch of Molly Game comes out and said like, yeah, we're all a bunch of misfits that came together for a purpose. Let's do it. And even pull up the home car. Well, that was interesting too. But it's like he lost a home only to gain a new one. And then apparently he tells Jester that he didn't want to tell her this, but apparently if you flip the home card, it says Traveler. I don't know what that was about.
I thought that was amusing.
I think he must have meant something by it, because it seems kind of weird that he either didn't tell her at first and then told her later on. I get that he told her when she was concerned about the Traveler, but still, it just like...
He didn't interpret it, though, and I think the thing that was weird to me, though, is he didn't interpret it, and when it's upside down, that usually means the opposite of what it is.
Well, I mean, I think we already know. Like, you don't think that you think she's not talking to anybody, but but I find it like what I find difficult about really swallowing that pill is, it's too big actually. No, just kidding. But 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 she says that her magic comes from the traveler, so I'm guessing or assuming she doesn't normally have magic. But like, if I were to take what you say as like the traveler ain't real, then where the heck is the magic coming from? And then somebody brought up that she might have magic and maybe she doesn't know it. Which I guess it's a possibility more often than not. But what I had trouble with that is like, I really don't want her to be crazy, but there's no other way around it if you assume that her magic is her own and she doesn't know it. I mean, the best way I can interpret is like, okay, maybe she's traumatized and we just don't know it. Like, maybe something happened to her, and maybe that explains why her mother did not want her leaving the chateau at first. But even then, it's like, if she was insane, I think or not insane, if she was traumatized, you think her mother would have tried to do something about it while she was stuck there. Like, I don't know. It just to me, it's like, I don't know. There's so many things, like, that's like why I'm hoping that maybe there is like, this is all a red herring. Like, there's some, like, there really is she is talking to a god. And he did just leave, apparently, right conveniently as she met Ford. I don't know. But like, you know, be the craziest. This is a headcanon. I mean, this would not be. It'd be funny if they did this, but like, it'd be the funniest thing. What if the thing she's talking to is the thing that Ford's talking to, and they don't know it? It's like somehow the same thing. Somehow, like, I don't know how this would make sense. This is like, say, I know it won't happen, but it'd be funny that somehow like the thing that is telling him to grow is somehow talking to her, and that's why he disappeared, because it went into the sword. That wasn't all that crazy stuff they started doing besides the mind control thing that he did at the very beginning of the gate started kind of happening when he met her. Like, all of a sudden it started happening. Like, he says he doesn't have magic, and then all of a sudden, like, he gets the sword and he starts having the ability to mind control, and then after that he starts displaying other powers, which is like off the wall. Like, he's got a lot of abilities that he doesn't know about. But yeah, I hope she's not insane. I mean, I just don't know how I would feel about that, because I've seen crazy characters in shows before, and they typically end up to be bad people. You know, when they had to put them down. And I don't want that the direction of the road that they put Jester on. Because again, like, people like Jester. Every time I watch something, it's like people say Jester is rising up in the ranks as one of my favorite characters. There's a comment saying like, "Oh, I like Jester." Everybody else, get in line.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just a comment. It's like, apparently Jester's a really popular character. So I'm just like, I just don't want her. Like, I really don't want her to be insane. Like, I really, because they just like, I don't know where they go from there. Because like, I don't know where you go from crazy. Like, there's really no direction I can foresee. Thankfully, it's not my show, but still, it's just like, there's no direction I could see from crazy. I'm just hoping it's a red herring. But they all head to the town where they got arrested, and the guards. They get to the guards, and then they show like they like, we're here to drop this off unless you want to carry it for us. Like, name, and like, he just, again, as Spear has pointed out, he just says Nein, but he really just means no. But they don't know that's what he's saying, so they think he's saying the number 9. And then they say, there's only 6 of you. Like, but it's like, we're the mighty 9. I'm like, Jester, you're not helping. I don't think she's there to help, though. I think she's there to cause chaos. But
yeah, she's definitely an agent of chaos.
But they pretty much like they let the waltz in, and they drop him off at the prison guard at the prison at the jail. Yeah, so they drop the thing off the jail only to see that there are a lot of dead guards. Because before, I actually skipped over this. At some point, I forgot where they show this us, but Aurelia shows up looking for. It looks like she's looking for. I'm guessing she's tracking Bo, but was not intending to find Caleb. And then when she found him, she was like, "Oh, this is fortunate smiled upon me." Basically, at the end of the episode, when they see her in the jail after like seeing everybody's dead, literally she did she killed everybody. Like nobody, like there was no survivors. Like she's like genuinely scary when she goes to kill you. But I guess it's the point. But it's like good gracious. But she uses her bug magic to. It's so strange that she got bug magic. That's so weird and creepy. But yeah, basically she walks into the thing and starts to smelling everything. Our gang gets back, and then they see her, and well, they don't see her. What Caleb notices that there's blood on the ground, and all of a sudden there's an explosion, and then we see Welly walking through the explosion. And then like both Caleb and Bo see her and they say at the exact same time, "Oh great, she's found me," and that's the end of the episode. Well, I mean that's what it is.
I know. It's just funny how you just like you like crashed.
Well, I mean, it was how I felt at the end of the like, no, don't keep doing this to me. Don't keep ending at a point that I need to come back. But I was like, this show does a good job of blue balling you when you're really close, and then it's like, nope.
Honestly, though, it could stop almost anywhere, and I would feel blue balled. There's all sorts of I constantly want to know what's happening next.
But yeah, well, when this happened, basically I got really curious and I watched the next episode to Spears' dismay. So I guess we'll do as a good job as we can here. But next episode, I think it's really called wait, hold on, I can find it. I don't know why I keep trying to guess. I have the document right in front of me. Even to myself, I'm a dick. Little Spark is the next episode, episode 5. But before that, do you have anything you want to add to the last episode before we move on?
Yeah, can I run through my notes, see what I have?
Go ahead.
Yeah. At the beginning of the episode, I love how she drops the handcuffs like they're nothing, then references them as sex tools. Like she's like, "Oh yeah, back in my brothel." She's like,
"What's this with the accent?" I'm sorry, I just have to point that out.
I just think it's really funny, like how she's just
you sound like Rayla.
That's what I was kind of going for a little bit, yeah.
Okay. I was going to make sure you knew.
I think you mean Coraline, though.
Coraline?
I think you mean my cat, Coraline. As opposed to my cat, Rayla.
Oh, sorry. I guess I don't know the voices of your cat host, or your host of cats, but... Okay.
I want
to take it off track.
I just thought they fall off for like it's completely meaningless and like that she's just been humoring them and it's so condescending, and I just think it's very amusing that like they fall off and then she just starts like going off on her like sex toy like conversations.
I mean, I think that's within her character. There's a lot of sexual things that they kind of like play off just as it's just normal for her. But yeah.
At 10:40, I didn't understand why it was so hard to get a soul into the beacon now when they seem to go in effortlessly normally.
Well, they had a ritual, didn't they? I mean, they had a whole entire setup when the last time they did it.
I felt like they don't
have that.
Yeah. I liked that they're still doing words of wisdom and they're still doing callbacks to their like mentors. And I liked that when Ford was thinking about the wall, he goes, "Whether you think you can or you can't, either way, you're right." And he got that from Vandrin, his mentor.
Oh,
I thought that was kind of cool.
You mean when he failed to blow a big enough hole so the thing?
Well, yeah, but before, what inspired him to try to do it was... that he, that he remembered the words of his master, you know what I mean? His, like, mentor. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was cool that like he did the callback. He's like, oh, I remember what he said. You know what I mean? Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. You know? And he's like, I'm going to try it. And then he tries it, and I guess it's not entirely unsuccessful.
I will still call that unsuccessful. I'll give him that. At least he tried and he blew one brick out. But it was like every time he tries something. Oh, I guess I'm gonna bring up. I did go back and rewatch that scene where he missed the test of strength. I thought he hit it, and it was for some reason his heart wasn't in it. No, he missed it, which is like interesting. I wonder like, why we're not getting the test of his true strength yet. But yeah, like I saw what you were talking about. I was like, oh, I did not notice he missed it.
You know that you're gonna hate me for always pulling things back to Dragon Ball, but you've watched OG Dragon Ball, right?
Yes.
It reminded me of there's a scene in earlier episodes of OG Dragon Ball where they're trapped and they need to get out of their trap. Like they're in a stone, surrounded by stone walls, and they need to find their way out. And Goku uses a Kamehameha. Do you remember that?
You talking about the first time he used the Kamehameha inside of a trapped area?
Yeah, they're in like a trapped area and they need to get out. And Goku's like, I can get us out. And he like drops a Kamehameha. And it's not especially successful.
Oh, that's the very first time he used it. Because like, I know you're talking about, but I'm just trying to remember exactly. No, I think if you're talking about the time he failed, I think it was around the first time he even learned about energy beings to begin with. And he was trying to, and you're talking about the one that burnt out, then it was like, yeah, that was kind of funny. I mean, but later on,
he knocked like a little tiny hole. He knocked a little tiny hole in the wall, and that was like the big deal. But then the funny thing about it is that when he knocked the little tiny hole in the wall, it was enough where he could see the moon. Do you remember that now?
Oh yeah, he turned into a monkey.
Yeah, he knocked the hole out, and it wasn't enough to get them out, but it was enough for him to see the moon, which was like an unintended consequence. And once he saw the moon, like he turned into Yozaru and got out. But that kind of reminded me of that because he like hits it as hard as he can, and he knocks exactly one brick out in the same way. And then I thought it was also interesting that Jester was upscaled Ford again with her punching power because like then she's like, I'm sorry, honey. He's like, I've never, this has never happened to me before. And she's like, it's okay, baby. And she like knocks a hole in the wall and like takes care of it for him.
Where'd you come from? Sorry.
No, I'm talking about Jester and Ford now.
Yeah, I know, but I heard Yajirobe in your impression of Ford. Sorry.
That's all right. Poor, turn into Bulma.
Yeah, Ruby, where'd you come from?
Turn into Bulma, Poor.
Oh. Poor, who actually is canonically a boy. So some of those scenes where he's turning into Bulma is really sketchy, but we're not going to talk about that here. Are you really looking this up right now?
No, sir. I'm not looking it up.
Are you sure? Because I hear typing.
I did type, but I didn't look it up. Okay. So, anyway, let's see. The killing Essex, I did that. I did the heart-to-heart that he has with Knot, where Knot says that Knot's beautiful, which is really hits. It really seemed to hit Knot hard when she said he was beautiful, and like you see Knot like kind of pushing against it, but you also see some signs there. Like Knot starts looking at her bottle, and you get some signs that like she's like also feeling resentment at that time for her alcohol addiction.
What I want to really bring up really quick about specifically Knot, I told you earlier that I have a theory that I think, so I'm going to share this theory. I didn't share this theory, going to explore this character, but I remember before when I had, I think it was episode 1, we saw Knot looking at herself in the mirror, and I thought it looks like she hates what she sees, but you say, are you sure that's what it is? Because you thought it was something else. I'm starting to, based off this episode and something that happens in the next episode, or actually this episode in particular, I'm starting to think that I don't know. She might be cursed. It sounds like the way she's acting. This is not normally how she looks.
Really?
That's just my like to me, because when she first looked at herself in the mirror, it like because even back before she's Caleb, she makes it like a thing where she's like they don't serve goblins or whatever like that, and again she keeps bringing up her looks. To me, it's like I don't know why a goblin would hate themselves. I mean, this would be a new character. They're like a self-hating goblin, but something just seems off to me because it doesn't. Like, to me, it's like because even with that whole idea with the way she looks quite human for something that's supposed to be a goblins aren't exactly pretty either in any fantasy that I've seen. Typically, they're really grotesque. She's probably the most human-looking goblin I've seen in anything I've seen fantasy.
So she's kind of hot for a goblin. Is that what you're trying to say?
No. Moving on, what you're saying.
I also like there was more wisdom there with Jester when she says, "Mama says you can accomplish anything with a heart and a friend." And I love how much they lean on their elders in this, and like how much they like lean on the wisdom of their like parent figures or mentor figures. You can accomplish anything with a heart and a friend. I thought at 1642 it was very amusing that Jester says that Caleb smells like poo. Just because Caleb really does spend most of the series like bathing in poo in one form or another. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh, this episode he didn't land in poo.
I know. That's what's funny about it. It's like the sort of hint that maybe off camera he did, you know. Like they just stopped. It became so repetitive that they stopped showing it to us. But just in case you were wondering, he's been in poo recently. I thought that was kind of funny. I thought it was cool that Molly got the swords that belonged to his mentor. That was kind of a cool little detail that I appreciated. Did you notice that?
No, yeah, I noticed it. I don't know if I even. I mean, I probably didn't bring it up, but yeah, I think that was cool. I thought he was gonna get it anyway, based on the fact that most of the time, like somebody dies, the apprentice gets their weapons. Yeah,
I know, but it's just like the fact that they were still there. Like nobody came along and stole them before he got there and everything, and he got to have the weapons. It just was like nice. It was like a nice little detail. I thought it was interesting that Caleb got the luminous beetles after all.
He was probably hanging on for a few, or was he looking around when he was looking through the garbage? Or maybe what he was actually doing, actually.
He was going through the garbage and he found some like dead ones, and he like took them apart, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I liked Bo being a fantastic detective again, like going back to detective mode. I thought it was really fitting when they were trying to figure out where the demon toad was, or the devil toad was, that like Molly's the one that knows blood, and he's like, "Oh, blood, I know blood," and he like examined it, and then like he tasted it, which is gross, but he did, and was able to like figure out where the other blood was and stuff like that. I thought it was interesting at 2315 when they're like experimenting on the beacon that you start seeing how reckless Trent really can be. It's the departure from the similarities that he has to Viren, who's a very like calculated character. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I appreciate that Knot functions as sort of a twisted Jiminy Cricket for the group. Did you happen to notice that?
I don't know what a twisted Jiminy Cricket would even be. So no, I mean I know she was kind of trying to be their conscience. If that's what you're actually saying. Are you talking about like they're about to abandon the girl, but she was like, "No, we gotta go save her because she's just a child."
Jiminy. Well, do you know who Jiminy Cricket is?
Yeah, I know who Jiminy Cricket is. I just never like I twisted Jiminy Cricket. I don't know what that's supposed to be.
Well, I mean, because like Jiminy Cricket's not like an alcoholic or a goblin. Doesn't give angry double middle fingers up to Bo and stuff like that. But like, you know, is basically a voice of morality and like not seems to be sort of an anchor, like keeping people like honest and like true in a lot of ways. And I just think that's cool.
I guess speaking of not, did you get the feeling that maybe not lost a child in her past?
Yeah, there's a quote later. Yeah, later when Not's outside holding the body of the girl, Caleb comes up and says, Not, this is not your fault. And Not responds with, not this time, maybe.
Which is interesting. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, but that's what made me think that. Like that part, like that definitely is something that I didn't miss. That happened in the episode. Let's see. It was really haunting how Toya was still kind of there and conscious at times. Like there's a point where she actually talks to them. And I think she asked for help or something like that, but she like actually talks to them and shows that there was like a mind in there to at least some extent. So that was kind of, I don't know, kind of haunting. You know what I mean? Like that they just put that in there, that they made that effort. I thought Ford, when he's trying to figure out what to do next, and he's scared, his voice of his mentor comes back in again and says, "The past is a noose around your neck." And I thought that was increasingly ironic advice to give to Ford at that point, because like Ford is absolutely being haunted by his past, but like in a way that he can't really avoid. You know what I mean? Because it's the reason he's alive is because of the conditions that happen when he, you know what I mean, from his recent past.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I thought when they had that fight against the devil toad, I almost felt like they were starting to like release some things that were going to later become catchphrases. Because like Molly goes, "Time to put on a show," and I'm like, that's going to be a catchphrase, isn't it? Did you get that idea?
No, yeah, I can see it.
It was really cool to see them all coming together and fight, like really shining as they fought the Devil Toad. Even though I thought their fight might have been a little bit too coordinated for people that barely knew each other.
I don't really think it was really all that coordinated, because I mean, like a lot of people still kind of got hurt, and I mean, if anything, like they probably could have found a way if they were a little more coordinated to get Toya off of the frog. If what we saw with her yelling for help was to be taken literal and then not the frog saying anything, there might have been a way to save her.
Mm-hmm.
That my takeaway. I'm saying it wasn't like, I mean, like they were coordinated, yeah, but like I mean, that only happened after they had a lot of failed attempts at attacking it to begin with, and it wasn't until they had a central figure to fight around is when they started acting coordinated anyway.
It reminded me of the 90s movie, the 90s cartoon show X-Men, that they would have a level of coordination like that with their fights sometimes, where they all had different powers and they would like use them in sync with each other. At 3141, you see a really dark. See, I'm going to try to go to it, but Amazon's going to make me watch ads maybe. But you see a very serious side to Caleb come out when he's fighting. I don't know why it didn't make me go to ads. I'm so lucky. When he uses the fire and they cut back to him, like when the fire hits, everybody's like, holy shit. And they all look over at Caleb. And Caleb, at like 3140 especially, like his eyes are like glowing and he's almost looks like he's got a bandana on and like his hair is waving in the breeze and everything else. And you see a spark of the more terrifying version of Caleb that like has been kind of hinted to exist in the past. And I thought that was interesting. Just a really cool little like animated moment. And then I thought it was funny. This was just my own little LOL, but like I was like, hee, Caleb attracted aggro. Because like that's kind of like from a gaming perspective, that's exactly what happened. Like Caleb hit it really hard. It's like, I'm gonna go attack that guy now, and it like runs after him. That just I was kind of amused by that. Let's see. Knot was when Jester was trying to heal the girl. Knot was like practically praying to the Traveler herself, like that this was going to work, and she's like, "Please don't be crazy. Please have this work. Please don't be crazy." Was pretty much like her attitude, and like I felt the letdown of the fact that it didn't work, especially hard for her at that moment, because she just really seems like she needs something to believe in right now, and I think she was starting to buy into the whole thing. Do you know what I mean? Before it failed, and it didn't fail completely. Like she healed the body, she just couldn't. There was just nothing there for the body to go with. But it must have hit Knot really hard because she seemed like she especially needed something to believe in. I thought it was interesting. I already said this off podcast, but I thought it was interesting that Oweli is using like basically cockroaches to fight what I'm basically going to call a Thundercat. I thought the flashback, I was going to mention this to you as more of a teaser to get you thinking, but like now you've seen the next episode. But that flashback that Caleb has that makes him unable to light the funeral pyre, I wanted to point that out to you, but kind of pointless now because you know what the flashback's about now. Molly's speech. Molly's showing a little bit of her own wisdom, his own wisdom there. Says, the thing about scars is, try as you may, they don't heal. You can cover them up, but you always know they're there. I thought that was kind of a wise line. Missable detail at 4024 when Essex and his mother are in the room. Who's the name of that shipwright? I need to look it up because I can't remember it. It's under secondary characters. Not the shipwright, the soldier, basically.
General Varrett?
Yeah. Essex is talking with General Varrett, and he just sort of casually looks down, and you see the ship that his mother was creating, the ship that she was building, that they put the little glowing stone on to help it float. You see it there, and it's broken in half, which I thought was just like a little missable detail that, like, you know what I mean? That the magic failed, that it's cracked in half now. It probably fell, from where it was floating. Varrett comes to say goodbye to Essex, he says. And this is a spoiler that I pulled in myself that's not so bad that I feel like it's wrong to share it with you. But General Varrett doesn't appear in the wiki for the campaign that precedes the animated series. So that made me wonder if that's Varrett was just there to die and be that like catalyst. 4432. I put a quote here and I can't remember. Oh, I liked that Caleb and Bo jinx each other when they say she found me. Did you pick up on that?
I mean, I didn't. I wasn't thinking about Jinx. I was more like they said the same thing at the exact same time. They had the exact same thought. Oh my goodness! And then they cut the video. Didn't really think. Cause I think I would have thought about Jinx if somebody had said Jinx as soon as they said that, but I don't know why they would do that in the middle of a life and death situation. Now you say that, okay. That's interesting.
I just thought it was funny that like they jinx each other. They look at each other. They say the exact same thing. She found me. You know what I mean? Exactly the same words, exactly the same timing when she finds them.
Man, I think if that had been Jester, they would have she would have definitely said Jinx, but
Jinx. Oh, yeah. She would have. She doesn't take life seriously enough to not say Jinx. And then at 44:40, Owelia says in Zemnian to Caleb, "Master will be so pleased I found you," which I thought was an interesting thing for her to say, is like sort of a just between the two of them kind of statement. That was all my notes. We can go on to the next episode. I just thought I'd get them out since I took the time to make them all.
No, that's no problem. I think that's why I went to the next episode so quickly, or I wanted to, because she spoke Zemnian and I wasn't expecting her to. I had sworn that they weren't going to like. I think if she hadn't done that, I wouldn't have went ahead to watch this episode. Because I know Zemnian is rare, and I like that doesn't make sense. Why does she speak that? And I got really convinced, and I actually got myself into a tizzy in my brain to like, is it possible that maybe like they're not really? I mean, they could be brother and sister, but not really by blood. But it's one of those things. It's like maybe they had a past together or something, or she was some lover of his that he had backstabbed, which that still could be the case. That because I mean, well, we're gonna episode 5, Little Spark. After the 99 break out of prison and subdue a Bullstrucker assassin, Bo interrogates her brutally, but as questioning ramps up, Bo's suspicions turn to Caleb as his connection with the Empire and dark past are unraveled. I've got to use the bathroom, so I'm gonna let Spear take the reins here. I'll be right back.
Oh no! We're just gonna be quiet until you come back.
All right, let's do this. All right, so this entire episode's basically, well, not entirety, but like the major story beat is about Caleb's past, which Spear had delightfully had told me that was gonna happen so soon. Gotta say, overall, not disappointed. But I will say, like, maybe if I had waited, like, this would have been a lot better. But hey, I mean, I made decisions. I am happy I made decisions, but I was like, huh, this would have been cooler if I had waited. But with that being said, this is picking up right after Caleb and Bo had their jinx moment. Wait, by the way, hey Spirit, you there?
I'm here.
Oh, sorry. You know, Bo had their jinx moment that Spirit said before. Now the prince just picks up like, and they have their fight with her. But at first, Caleb wants to run because, like, you know, she's dangerous, but no one else like wants to do that. So they end up fighting her, and it's a really interesting fight. It shows that she's capable of fighting multiple people at once. Which, you know, if they could have turned her, it would have been her a really interesting ally. If they could have like turned her and had her switch sides, but obviously that wasn't going to happen. It was definitely interesting because it seemed like she had the upper hand until Bo used the chi blocking technique on her. I just thought that was funny. I actually screamed out loud like, the chi blocking technique, and had like, she was just on the ground like Bo was when Daron used it on her. I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. It's even funnier because she's so much smaller than Bo that I think they did that on purpose.
Yeah.
It was like the funniest thing. It's like, wow, she subdued her. But it's like, but as soon as she subdued her and she's about to take her into custody, Caleb decides to let a lot of fire in her face and send her flying a distance. Like, good lord, like Caleb really. I mean, to add on to the whole, like, we see a different side of Caleb. We see a lot of that this episode. Like, he does not like her, and we see that the entirety of the episode, all the way up to the end. Let's see here, really quick. Let me just want to see something. That's not what I want to see. Okay, hold up. Sorry, I was like trying to skip ahead in episode 4 just to get through it, and so I can move to the next episode. But I seriously think oh my god.
What? That
amulet? At the end of Mighty Number 9, episode 4, he straight up tells what the amulet does, but he says it in Zimnian. He says it blocks their vision. He completely says that in another language without somebody ask what's so important about this amulet. I mean, we know now what it does because she says it in episode 5, but it's like, he straight up says what it does at the end of the episode in episode 4. He just says it in a different language.
I knew that.
I did not see that. Even though I was watching with the subtitles, I didn't see that.
Oh yeah, I did.
Okay, just get the little spark. I need to see. Now they fight her and then you subdue her. Oh yeah, I guess at the beginning of the episode, he just flashback, tell him, like, let me tell you a story at the very beginning of the episode, and then you see, we see Caleb when he was a younger lad with his parents, farm hands apparently, like they own a farm, and they seem to be kind of doing well for themselves. I mean, like, apparently based on what we learn later on, they're not the richest people, but it doesn't seem like they really care all that much. But apparently their son knows magic. And apparently no
they seem like very happy, humble people.
Yeah, like I noticed they didn't really seem to care all that much. But I will say it seems like they know their son can use magic because, like you know, he comes out Caleb comes out to get his father, and then like you see he's like working on the fence, and then Caleb uses some magic to reinforce it and turn some, I guess, leather into steel as a steel wrap. And apparently, I guess no one else knows he can do this. And this guy, I guess his neighbor sees him. He's like sorcery. He's like, no, well, sort of. Well, he says 9 here.
9. Do you know any other words?
9.
9.
Just slapping him. He's like, say something else but 9, you fool.
Say 9 again. Say nine again, motherfucker. I dare you. I double dare motherfucking dare you. Say nine again.
Jeez. Okay, but he does that little bit of magic too, of course.
Too much?
I just saw Samuel L. Jackson shaking somebody like a ragdoll. That's all I saw. But but he does he reinforces that, and he's like a sorcery, you know. He's like read some old books. Caleb doesn't seem all that, like, you know. He's like, yeah, I can do this all the dang time. You should see what I did to the oven in there. It's like, he doesn't seem like this like little spell he's done is really all that impressive to him. Then our local villain shows up in the flashback. Trent apparently just happened to be running, like roaming by, and he happened to notice that there was magic being used, I guess. And he stops out and he addresses Caleb and he addresses his parents, and basically they go inside the house to have dinner, or no, breakfast. And then Trent brings up that he could come to his school to learn magic, and then they bring up like, well, they know about the school, but like unfortunately Caleb can't go because they made plans for him to help out on the ranch. But then Trent, his sneaky self, says like, well, I have the application here and I have a test. You just like light this thing on fire, and once it does, it's enchanted paper. Once you light it on fire, it will show up at the home office, which will come in handy later.
Mm-hmm.
We see something with that enchanted paper later that I'm so glad I caught on to when I saw it. But basically he like at first he fails to light it on fire, and then he gets the encouragement from his parents and manages to light the application on fire, and he manages to get accepted into the school. And then we immediately get cut away to him getting into the carriage to go to the school, while his parents are like smiling and seem happy, which I thought they would be a little bit more sad, but I'm guessing they're happy for their son. Because they did bring up that he could like become a famous mage, and then he could hire help for the farm. So I guess it's maybe what they were thinking about. But then we see Caleb get into the carriage with these two people. Well, I think we've seen both these people. One of them I think was I think the black guy was the guy who died in the first episode. I think is who that was. It may not be. I think maybe the other black guy we saw. I don't really remember. We also see Astrid, who's the other girl that we see, who is with Trent in the very first episode. Who's when they stole the Lux and Beacon. So I thought that was interesting that we see them when they're younger here. I wonder what that means if he's gonna see them again later. I guess maybe. But he gets in the carriage, he meets them, and then we move on to apparently him being late to his first class. Because I think I want to make sure I didn't skip over anything. I guess I did talk about the fight with Astrid. Well, not Astrid, but the fight with yeah. But then they have a test that they need to pass, and apparently the thing I didn't catch on was the fact he was only gonna pass 3 of them to become bolt struckers later. So Caleb and Astrid and this random dude who I don't really know his name end up managing to be the 3 that pass a test that Trent's giving. Everybody else seems to fail, even Aurelia, who we see fails the test too because of Caleb. That part was interesting. That we finally see her, and apparently we see the connection she has with him. But and then like Trent pretty much closes the class and he tells those 3 that he's got a mission for them. Well, not a mission, but he's got like he's gonna they pass the test and he's got like an extra thing that he wants to give them. Well, apparently, after Bowelia poisons Ford and causes him to get sick of poison. I want to point out too, Ford's has vomited I think twice now on this show, maybe even 3 times now. I want to say there's been multiple times where he's projectile vomited. Though I don't think not on anybody, but he's definitely vomited multiple times in this show. It's kind of weird. The poop thing, now this. This show does not shy away from gross stuff.
That is funny that Ford is I'm guessing that by the end of the series, Ford is going to be the most courageous of them all.
Yeah, we'll see. Like right now, he's not. He's not that important right now, but I suspect that we'll get his backstory, which will be a major story beat at some point. I could never see him being useful and really powerful later, if he ever gets control of his powers. Well, I think apparently we flashed back to, present day, and then they managed to overwhelm Aurelia, and then chain her up after Bo, blocks her chi points. And Aurelia's like, what the heck happened? They tie her up, and then they.
I thought that was fantastic. The full circle of it was fantastic, in my opinion.
No, I enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. I screamed when it happened. I was like, oh yes, she freaking used it on her. I'm surprised she used it so fast, though, but good gracious.
Yeah, she learned it pretty quick.
What the heck was that? Oh, okay, they managed to tie Aurelia up, and then that brings there was an abandoned farmhouse a ways back on their way into town. So they ended up taking her there. But not before Caleb getting a free shot off Aurelia with a fireball. But again, it's just another point of his other side of him not really caring about other people's lives, I guess. But he does that because he wants to get the amulet back, and then she's like, in his own native language, after crushing it, that now you can't hide anymore. Which is interesting that entire amulet's been causing him to be able to hide from them for so long. Now he's not going to be able to hide himself anymore. And apparently, flashback to Caleb being late for that class. Like I already brought up that he passed the test with flying colors.
Flying colors, I suppose. That's one way of putting it.
Okay, he had help, but he still passed.
That's not what I meant. I just meant it's not something to be happy about, maybe.
I mean, in hindsight, maybe not, but he really wanted to be the best he could. Just gonna scrub past the test. You see, when you said Class of Smith, I thought they all are still there, but I'm guessing maybe because they didn't pass, he didn't teach them anymore. We don't see the rest of those students that he failed ever again, anyway. I like how when they're carrying Aurelia in the carriage, and like Molly Muck in the front, it's like, shouldn't we just wrap her wounds first? And everybody just says no. I'm like, geez, like, do they want her to bleed out in there?
Apparently.
They make it to the farmhouse, and they basically Caleb and Bo carries Aurelia into a separate spot to interrogate her, and Caleb joins her, saying like, she's a sorcerer, like it'd probably be helpful to have me there too. And then from earlier, the incident with Ford being stung with some poison, Jester ends up carrying him to a bed because he's like, well, I can just sleep it off. But also Caleb says like, you're really good with poison, so you're probably really helpful to Ford, which is interesting because they never said anything about her ability for her knowledge in poison at all. And then we find out apparently she learned some stuff from an alchemist. I was like,
yeah, not just sort of showed up with that, didn't she? I felt like that was going to be like a hint about learning about her later, to be honest with you.
It was just, well, it probably is, but it was just so random. It was like, wait, when did she have these skills? What? I was like, okay.
This is new.
Well, it is new because like she never brought up meeting an alchemist before. But yeah, that was interesting. Like, again, the more and more I learn about Not, the more interested I am. It's like, what the heck? What's going on here? What is her story? Why is she so drunk? But like, yeah, I was like, okay, the knot can be helpful with poison. So I guess we can talk about these instances separately. Really quick. Actually, no, because that doesn't really
I think
happen.
it's funny. I just realized that Bo calls her Little Miss Cockroach at one point.
Well, Aurelia?
Yeah, let's get Little Miss Cockroach in a chair.
That's kind of harsh. It's the size thing, but also
no, because she uses fights with cockroaches, but it's still.
No,
really
I know,
fun.
but her size is just kind of still messed up when she calls her cockroach, because I think she's still calling her small.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand this is the cockroach fighting her cockroaches. It was just like it seems interesting because considering how small she is compared to her. But in the room where like Auelia's getting grilled, pretty much like both said, well, let's play good monk, bad monk, which is ironic considering that later on Caleb starts playing bad monk, but pretty much he's like good, like going to try to grill her on the information out of her, and Bo thinks she's being, I guess, forceful with her only for Aurelia to like be like, well, she gets information out, she only gets a couple words out of her in just 3 days, and you find out it's like that's how long you're supposed to leave somebody, you know, to their whims before you interrogate them. Bowie ain't having any of that, and neither is Caleb, because Caleb shoots, grabs her chains with this fire magic of his and starts lighting it on fire. Which, by the way, I want to point out, like, this entire episode he's been doing magic without components. I find that strange. There's very moments where he does use magic without components. It's not that he doesn't completely use components, because he definitely does use components at some point, but some of the spells that he was doing, especially the fire ones, like those didn't seem like he needed components. At least the bigger explosions, not the main fireball that he usually uses.
Yeah. Well, the fireball he uses, he needed like that whole lantern bug, the luminous beetle, for last time.
Yep. Yeah, but the later fire ones that he was doing, he didn't seem to need them.
Or like when he heated up the coils of the chains and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the big explosion at the end where he incinerated her, he didn't seem to need components for that.
Yeah, apparently not.
He lit her on fire. Like, this chick is on fire. It should have been playing.
Oh my god. That's so inappropriate.
Is it?
Apt, but not appropriate.
I'm sorry. I had to use that once.
This chick is on fire.
I'm serious. That should have been playing during that moment, but we'll back up. But they're trying to interrogate her and it doesn't seem to be working. Caleb gets more and more mad and he starts like really lighting her up. Well, not lighting her up, but as it gets more and more upset. And then Bo is like, "You seem to know a lot about these people. What's the deal?" And then Aurelia starts speaking in Zimnian, and then Bo gets more suspicious. Like, I will say, like, Aurelia really plays the room here, like, really well, like turning Bo on Caleb. Like, I thought that was actually kind of brilliant, considering, I guess, like, Aurelia must have picked up on the distrust that Bo was having. Because I don't think Aurelia would have gotten free if it wasn't for that. But yeah, like she was talking to Caleb in his home language. And Bo was getting suspiciously, and it just seems coincidental that she can also speak your native language. And he's like, "Listen, I can discuss this later, but not now," which is interesting. Yeah, he does say that. Bo doesn't seem to care. Rick. Okay, I'm trying to figure. I know I had a train of thought here and I completely lost it. That was quick. Oh yeah, I guess we go back in time again. But this time I think it's like we see how he became a Voltsucker, which is like the crystals in his skin, which I guess is interesting because now we see the Voltsuckers now, and they don't seem to have crystals in their skin. It seems to be some type of paint or something like that over their skin. So at some point, I guess along the lines, he must have figured out how to do that very caveman a very like archaic way of putting using that type of magic, I'm guessing. But yeah, like you see Caleb with the crystals in his skin. Caleb does mention earlier in the show that apparently he had his magic taken, which is still really interesting. Now I wonder if he's referring to the crystals in his arms. Because I don't it doesn't, they don't explain how he lost them, at least not yet anyway. But that was intriguing. We saw like a little bit like, you know, of like the chaos that that Caleb was like doing underneath Trent. We also get a chance to see some of the, you know, I guess the relationship that he developed with Astrid and that other dude. That I mean, we really see it when they have a freaking menage a trois in their dorm, which caught me off guard. I was like, good gracious. But yeah, it seems really interesting that like Caleb seems to be really gifted with fire magic. It's like really interesting. I thought maybe it was a coincidental that he used fireball like earlier on, but like it seems like he's really gifted with fire magic from the way he's been using it and how he uses it during his time as a Volstalker. What did they steal from the monks? Because that's what they were there for. They were still something from them.
I don't think they stole anything from the monks. I think the monks part was they're investigating this because there's something going on, right? Their involvement started when they started trying to investigate the temple that was just attacked or whatever, right?
That's how when Caleb was a Volstalker like all that time ago when he was younger. Because he was inside the monk library then too.
Mm-hmm.
When he was a Volstalker, like they interrogated that with that monk that he slashed the stomach of, like that was like the cobalt blue monks. I think that's what at least I think that was them. Cause I think he was there trying to take something, and I just don't remember if he was successful or not. I think he was, cause I think he killed that monk that was trying to get his guts in his stomach again. Like Caleb has, I mean, he doesn't explain a lot. I mean, when we see Caleb has a really mysterious past, I'm guessing we're gonna learn next episode. After Aurelia manages to get into, you know, Boa's head and causes her to turn on Caleb, Aurelia gets free somehow and, you know, makes a run for it. Meanwhile, Ford's like laying in bed in pain. Jester went out with Molly Mug to gain some flowers that Knot said to get that would help with the poison. And then we have like we have a little moment with Knot and Ford, which is interesting. At first, like, you know, Knot doesn't seem all that interested in keeping tabs on Ford, and even says like, I don't know what she sees in you. And later on, he like after he projectile bombs on her, well, not on her, because there's apparently she has like a photo in front of her, and just in the nick of time when he projectile vomits. But then we see that, you know, Ford's having a nightmare about the shipwreck and everything like that. And he's like, I failed the captain, and apparently Knot softens up a little bit, and he's like, no, you didn't fail. It even calls him sweetie, which is interesting, which I guess kind of feeds onto the whole idea that, you know, because later on we see that, you know, Knot says that, which I think is quite intriguing, that Knot sees herself as a parent in their relationship with Caleb. I thought was interesting.
That was quite a speech, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, but it kind of made me think, it's like, maybe she's older than we think she is. I don't know. But yeah, she sees Caleb as her boy, which is interesting. I was like, oh. Like, how long were you guys together for that kind of a bond to form?
Yeah, it makes you wonder how old Knot is.
I guess we'll find out eventually. I guess I think, if it's relevant to our character. But yeah, I thought that was interesting how basically she tells Boa that, you know, like we have a parent-child relationship, but I'm the parent. I was like, oh,
Hit
So
me again, Daddy.
no, don't. But I guess it kind of makes sense though, because it's like you would think based on the fact that Caleb keeps feeding her booze that she's not really responsible. But like for the most part, during their journey, like she was getting him a pillow for him to sleep on and getting him stuff like that. Almost like a mother figure would do for their child when they're on the run like that. It does seem like I never really considered a lot of her actions like that. That makes you kind of curious. I wonder if she did lose a child in her past, and that may have something to do with like why she's in her current state, the drinking. I mean, like I feel kind of bad. Like I can't wait to see whatever that's about, because like I mean they let you into not a little bit her personality. I mean, yeah, I thought that was an interesting speech that she gave. Like that was like really powerful in a really interesting way. Something that I would have never expected from her. But then Not has like she starts comforting Ford in the bed, and then we see Molly Muck and Jester out in the woods, getting flowers, and they have their own little chat, chatter within amongst themselves. But I'm happy. I was happy for them to talk about them being tieflings to get a little bit more lore on them, but I guess you don't really need to. I just think it's interesting because considering like they're both the same race, like they're definitely very different. They both got different skin tones and everything like that, and different beliefs. It just seems really interesting how different they are. But like I guess like Molly Muck tries to like help her, well, not help her. He kind of like talks to her, and he kind of like pokes fun at her and the whole traveler thing, and then he makes a wise guy comment towards her about like a naive girl who thinks she's talking to a god, and at first Jester's like, oh, and then she's like, wait, are you talking about me?
I like the part when Bo, earlier in a different part where Bo is mocking her and she's like, I do not sound like that.
Yeah, I remember that part. I just don't want her. I'm gonna keep beating this horse and at least to get a reveal. Like I really don't want her to be insane, and I don't think she is. I just don't know what the traveler business is about, and it concerns me that there's nobody there. Because she's been seeing somebody, and for the most part, she hasn't been seeing a person. Back when she was talking to the traveler, she was seeing a person. Now she's not. But But she was having a chat with like Molly Muck, and was even talking to him about his powers, and it brings up the blood thing. He says like that's never happened before. But that was very interesting. Like, wait, we talking about you just tasted the blood before? We talking about it's never happened before? I guess he's supposed to be referring to that before he did that. He didn't know he could do that. This makes it more mysterious. Like I want to know a little bit more about him and his abilities, and what's his deal with not wanting to know more about the past.
Yeah, there's a big disconnect with him and like what he says he can do and what he's apparently is able to do.
He also seems to be on a whole like he doesn't need to know about the past. He keeps on saying it. It's like a part of what his character is like. He doesn't dwell on the past. Something tells me he's gonna have to dwell on the past at some point as character development arc. It just feels like they're really leading that. Like he's gonna have to go in his past that he doesn't want to go into. They all head like Molly Muck and Jester head back after getting the flowers, and like they happen to run into Aurelia running out. And then, as Molly Muck does, makes a comment as like, "Huh, this seems like it was done on purpose." And then Jester's like, "Oh," in her naiveness of like, "Oh, she's becoming your best bud," and then she attacks him, and Molly Muck blocks, and then she runs off. And then right before they get a chance to go after her, Bo comes out. So they run after her, and then Caleb stops them all with slow trap magic, I'm guessing. And then he's like, "You want to know who I am? Like, you want to know who I am? This is who I really am." And he just walks off into the forest, all dark and Batman like. And then like apparently that all happens with not in the bedroom with Ford, and she hears all this and runs out, and she just hopes, I hope you don't die. Runs out the door, happens to see that everybody is stuck in a pose and nobody can talk. And then, as Spears so helpfully pointed out earlier off podcast, she was having a Lassie moment. I almost said old Yeller moment, but a Lassie moment of like, someone's stuck down the well. Oh, like, dang it! Can she not tell that they can't talk?
Mm-hmm.
And then she says out loud, like, "Oh, like, you got trapped by trap matching Kelps out there trying to kill Owelia by himself. Wait, why'd you let him go by yourself?" And they all get more pissed at her. This magic only lasts for a minute. Like, after that, take this flowers and grow it into a tea or something like that, and give it to tell the jester gives it and give it to Ford. You got like 10 minutes before he dies. I'm like, I feel like maybe you should do that, considering he's only got 10 minutes to live, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then she runs off into the woods after Caleb. And then we have basically Caleb's moment of like going full like anime villain. Well, not full anime villain, but like really freaking close. He basically traps Owelia against a tree with a rock arm, sets that rock arm on fire, and consistently sets it on fire, setting her on fire and killing her very slowly. Well, not very slowly, but it looks like it's not fast because she's screaming as she's burning alive.
Yeah.
Huh?
Unnecessarily slow.
Like, she is like burning alive. He's remembering everything about what Trent did as he's burning her alive. And like, as he's about to, really get one more good lick in her, apparently she had bit her thumb and it was writing down his name on a piece of paper. And as he's killing her and burns her alive that one last time, he notices that he accidentally burnt the paper that was in her hand, and that's the paper that we saw in one of his flashbacks about, like, if you burn it, it goes straight to the office. So now they know where he's at. At least they know that Owelia's seen him, and he gets really pissed off, and he really starts going off and setting her ablaze. Some would say you could call that hot. I'm not sorry. But she's dead, and then like, everything's on fire, and then I think it's about to touch. I don't know what he was trying to do there. He was reaching. Also, he was having his flashback of when he burnt down the house with his parents in it, and he saw his cat burning alive. He was reaching out to the flame, and then apparently, I think he was in a trance. Knot shows up and screams at him, like, and he's like, "Caleb!" And then he's like, "Huh?" And then he just passes out. So I guess he used a lot of energy to do what he just did there, without components. By the way, I just want to point that.
0 spell components were harmed in the making of this.
Basically, it was interesting when he passes out, but like, not like, but we see in the flashback with the burning house, he is something the spirit said to me that I wasn't thinking about. Apparently, I guess he has empath abilities, because as they're burning the house down, he remembers again with the whole old master thing. He's having memories. Interesting enough, in memories of the past while he's in the past of his own memories. Try to solve that riddle, but he has a memory of like Trent saying, like, bear the pain, you can work through it. And apparently, I guess he's sharing the pain with the 2 other people that he has a connection with. I thought he would just burn them accidentally, but that was my interpretation. But that interpretation works probably a lot better. Didn't know they had empathic abilities, but that's good to know, I guess. Shares his pain with Astrid and the other guy, and they cut away to Caleb in the bed with Molly Muck, letting him know that you got some explaining to do. And then, Bo starts talking to Knot and what Spear said before about your friend's got some issues. I do like how she says, like, she fires right back at her. It's like, you're no peach either. I was like, yeah, she's got issues too. I mean, yeah, she got dad issues. I'm just kind of curious if Bo's father is gonna show up because like she really panicked when her father was brought up.
Mhm.
So something tells me like she's got some trauma she got to deal with her father too. But basically, you know, after all that, we had like a situation with not explaining that her relationship of parent and child is that she's the parent, and really make sure like you got that right. I was wondering if that wasn't really towards Bo when she said you got that right. It was mostly to the people watching the show. Because like, something about that seemed way more direct than it needed to be. Like letting people know, like, yeah, I'm the parent. I was like, okay, you're the parent. You got it, Haas. But then Caleb pretty much says, like, okay, I do all the explanation. He sits down and he says, like, let me tell you a story. And then the freaking episode cuts off. Pissing me off.
Aren't you
again.
happy? Aren't you so happy?
Pisses me off again. No, I'm not happy. Like, why end it there? They begin the episode with "Let me tell you a story," and then they end it with the exact same phrase. No, I'm not happy.
Upon stories upon stories.
I can't wait to see what else going on when he's about to tell. Do you have any notes? I know you were just watching it, so I don't know if you have any notes, but you might have some notes.
No, I didn't have time to do much more than just watch it this time. I always sit down and like spend a really long time when notes come.
Okay, so again, that was my fault. You can blame me for Spears' non-notes for this episode.
Oh.
I guess with that, we'll come back next week with episode 6. Just episode 6. I will definitely temper my expectations. Just so Jock can.
Are you going to be able to contain yourself?
I should be able to. I mean, I was just curious. Like that last episode, episode 4, just left me with enough questions. Like I needed to know the answer to it immediately. So that was on me. Like that's on nobody else. That's just. I think that's just evident of a good show. That's all I'm gonna say. Like I don't think it'll happen.
You think the show is a good show?
I don't think this is gonna. It will happen to me again. I don't think it should. I mean, that was just like. I think for me, Caleb was mysterious enough where I was like, and you told me that later on he is a focus of the end of the show. I mean, end of this season. So I think that also played into it. But I should be fine. These episodes are probably more story about him, which is interesting. So you were right though. They were really heavy with the story with this guy. Interesting. With that, we'll watch episode 6 next week. Episode 6, and see you guys then.
See you guys.